Hey, are you tired of feeling tired all the time? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? A lot of times, mainstream medicine uses blood work, which doesn't give a really in-depth look at what might be going on with the stress system. And so at Cornerstone, we do use something called HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis, to really get an in-depth look at to how the stress system might be working or what stage of stress it might be in. A lot of times, most of us have initial stressor and we are in what's called the alarm stage. This alarm stage, unfortunately, because the body can't decipher between, our ancient system of staying out of the way of a saber-toothed tiger versus maybe job worries, we stay in this alarm phase and then get into something called the resistance phase. And the resistance phase is really kind of where people start to see problems. And so using the hair tissue mineral analysis and looking at minerals, unlike blood, because blood is outside the cell and because hair tissue mineral analysis is inside the cell, we're really able to see what's happening inside the cell and how the cell is functioning based on minerals. Minerals are the spark plugs for everything. And when I say they run the show, they run everything. Two of your major minerals that need to be replaced on a daily basis are sodium and potassium. Carrie, do you want to talk just a little bit about why sodium and potassium are so important?
Yeah. And as Jen said, so often we're just in that stress response. And sometimes it's going to take a little bit of time to get out, to get out of it. Even, the first thing is just to be aware of it, but then just trying to replace those minerals are super key. And two of the main ones that get depleted the quickest are sodium and potassium because the adrenals use those up quickly when we're calling on them so often under stress. And so these are things that we often see on HTMA that are low and that are, needing to be replaced. And they're just super important. Minerals are all connected, but these in particular, sodium, potassium, are very important because they help things get inside of the cell to actually work correctly. There's a sodium potassium pump on every single cell that, again, facilitates things going in and out of the cell. And that's really important when you think about overall functions of the body, organ functions, things like that. And so replacing these first is key. A lot of times we might be getting enough sodium, but we might not be getting enough potassium. And I often find, though, that we're so depleted, it's typically both of them that we need to go ahead and start replacing a little bit. And I've just seen and heard so many people have just really quick results with just supplementing and sort of implementing these things in their daily routines as just they get energy pretty quickly. Wouldn't you say, Jen? Like, wow, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that this
Yeah.
is
And
what
I
I
think
was missing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's because so many people think sodium is bad, right? Mainstream
Yeah.
tells them to stay away from salt. And salt is a vital nutrient, not only for your adrenals, which is your, first response to that stress response, that fight or flight, but it helps you to make hydrochloric acid, which helps you digest. So
Yeah.
if you have digestive issues, sodium is imperative. It helps sensitize the insulin receptors. So if you're having blood sugar issues, it's super important. I think most diabetics are probably told to stay away from sodium. So sodium is not the bad guy. But it does have to be in balance with potassium, just like Carrie said. And that's why we use the HTMA, the hair tissue mineral analysis, to really look at the ratios of minerals. We're looking at 6 major ratios of 4 major minerals. So calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. Now there's other ratios, but those are the main ones that we look at to look at what stage of stress that you are in, that alarm phase, that resistance phase, which most people probably fall into, or even the exhaustion phase, unfortunately. So if you're in a chronic fatigue or, exhaustion most of the time, you probably are in that latter phase.
Yeah.
And symptoms indicative of that resistance phase is you wake up and you feel tired, but then you get your second wind later in the evening. That's what they call tired and wired. And that's super common in that resistance phase, which most people are. So again, looking at these minerals really helps us to look at, besides the stress, it helps us look at your blood sugar, it helps to look at your thyroid, helps to look at your hormone system, whether you're utilizing protein efficiently, and toxic metals too, right? Are you able to get rid of things like mercury, lead, aluminum, which can play havoc on the system? And mainstream doesn't usually test for those things. And they can be major stressors for the body. So HTMA is just a really good picture for us as to what has been happening in the body for the last 3 months, unlike blood, which is just one snapshot in time.
Yeah. So if you want to learn more about the HTMA, we have a podcast that goes into more detail. We'll link that below. I feel like it's so important for us to replace, obviously, for the reasons that we've stated, the sodium, potassium that we're sort of burning through, or actually have a pretty large hole that we need to fill in. And we like to do that with something called Re-lyte. It's made by Redmond real salt. And we like this particular hydration mix that you just add to water because it has a really good ratio of sodium to potassium and a little bit of magnesium in there. Whereas some of the others have like a lot of sodium and not as much potassium is typically what we see. And so this is a really nice ratio in that
Or
mix. So
lower.
we're going to,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
no,
Yeah.
you're fine. So we're going to include the link for that below if you want to try it out. We also have a coupon code you can use to save some money there. And also direct you to our quiz. We have a quiz just so you can see kind of where your fatigue might be coming from, adrenal issues, thyroid issues, or detox related things. And so that's a really good place to start too, just to see like, where do I need to focus my efforts if I am feeling fatigued, whether it's all day or just in the afternoons. That's pretty common, or you have a hard time getting going in the morning. All of those could really point to underlying issues in these three areas. So
Yeah, and look below. We'll insert a discount code for you too. You'll get 15% off if you want to try the Re-lyte. And again, unless you have heart issues or kidney issues, everybody could probably give it a try.
yeah, but message us if you have questions about anything that we chat about here. We have those ways to connect with us below. We'd be more than happy to answer some of your questions or help you out. See you guys on the next video.